Comments for the week ending October 16th from the beef farmers of Ontario. There were 293 head of fed steers and heifers sold through auction markets last week, down 26 head from the previous week. Fed steers averaged 313.56 per hundredweight, up 8.88 per hundred, and fed heifers averaged 312.71 per hundredweight, up 2.56 per hundred from the previous week's trade. Auction markets reported on Tuesday that fed steers and heifers sold steady with quality considered. By Thursday, fed steers and heifers sold $4 per hundredweight higher. In Ontario, dress sales were reported at $5.20 per hundredweight delivered. For the week ending October 4th, Eastern fed cattle and cow exports to the U.S. were 2,764 head, 4% above last year and 26% above the 5-year average. Year-to-date, Eastern fed cattle and cow exports were 1% lower than last year. Cull cow receipts sold through auction markets last week were 1,594 head, down 180 head from the previous week. Cows averaged 182.65 per hundredweight, up 236 per hundred. Beef cows averaged 195.65 per hundredweight, up 152 per hundred from the previous week's trade. Auction markets reported on Tuesday that cows sold steady. By Thursday, fed cows sold at very strong prices. Total receipts were 10,639 head last week. Receipts of 7,074 stockers and feeder cattle sold through Ontario auction marts, up 1,239 head from the previous week. Auction markets reported on Friday, October 10th, that calves sold, while yearlings sold steady with grass types bringing a premium. By Thursday, stockers sold on a very strong market with good buyer demand. The Quebec electronic market prices were not available at press time. Last week, Alberta fed prices continued to moderate, trading $2 to $3 per hundredweight lower than the previous week. Fed steers and heifers averaged 304.26 per hundredweight and 300.66 per hundredweight respectively. Dress sales were reported from $5.07 to $5.08 per hundredweight delivered, steady to $8 per hundredweight lower than the previous week. Live sales have been reported from $3.05 to $3.06 per hundredweight FOB the feedlot. Prices are at the bottom end of last week's trading range. Competition on the cash market remains mixed, with one major Western Canadian packer not bidding on cattle. Cattle that traded were scheduled for delivery throughout the month of November. U.S. packer interest was also noted, with light volumes of Western Canadian fed cattle marketed south. These cattle will be priced off the 5-area average. By Thursday, October 16th, light trade developed, with dress sales reported from $5.05 to $5.08 per hundredweight delivered, steady to $2 per hundredweight lower than the previous week. For the week ending October 11th, Western Canadian fed processing was 38,474 head, 13.3% lower than last year. The U.S. cash cattle trade last week saw dress sales in the northern feeding states from $3.72 to $3.73 per hundredweight, $8 to $10 per hundredweight higher than the previous week. Live sales in the northern feeding states ranged from $2.40 to $2.41 per hundredweight, $5 per hundredweight stronger. Sales in Texas and Kansas were at $2.40 per hundredweight, $6 to $10 per hundredweight higher. With higher cattle prices and struggling wholesale beef prices, this will put further pressure on packer margins. Packer margins are not too far off the worst they have been this year. The U.S. government announced late last week the administration will be looking at lowering beef prices. This is Jamie Kerr with the Beef Farmers of Ontario Market Information Report.